Throughout the construction and research, planning and evaluation stages of producing my main product and ancillary texts, I discovered and utilised a wide range of media technologies. At the beginning of the process, I created a blog on WordPress.com, which allowed me to organise and assess all of my work continuously. This encouraged me to complete all of the tasks to a high quality through documentation of each stage and thought of the process. This was enhanced through the easy navigation of the site, allowing me to categorise posts, images, documents and videos. This use of multimedia products assisted the development and formation of my idea, as well as enabling me to reflect and refer back to each of the stages and problems I needed to address. Whilst conducting the initial research, before the thorough planning of my main products, I analysed some short films that targeted themes and genres in the way I wanted to develop my own product. I found these shorts through YouTube, produced by other independent directors. I reviewed and conducted in-depth textual analysis on different aspects of these shorts to understand unconventional aspects that can provide stylistic features and qualities in the production of my own media product. I linked the URLs to my blog to show each individual process of my analysis, whilst allowing me to develop my response in detail and specify the areas that are most convincing in the way the short immerses and appeals to the target audience. To become familiar with the location and camera I would use to produce my product, I decided to plan and conduct some test filming. I used a Canon Legria HFR46 camera, meaning I could experiment and record in ways that I could replicate in final products, such as the 180-degree shot. I was also able to experiment with its sensitivity to low-key and high-key lighting, and how I could adjust the filters and colour palette to create the most effective atmosphere. It also illustrated to me what I would be unable to achieve or needed to develop on before the filming process of my product, as certain features were very difficult to use, such as the focus pull and pace of zoom. Once I had specified and developed on my idea, I was able to use online resources to enhance my knowledge of a variety of aspects relating to witchcraft, such as finding locations of witchcraft stores that I was able to visit and develop an understanding of the belief and way of life, creating an objective perspective that was then reinforced when I was able to get into contact with a witch in my area, who I held unstructured interviews with. I then used further online resources such as websites on different forms of witchcraft. This allowed me to establish a convincing product with a thoroughly researched storyline. I also used an online store called FreyasCauldron.com, which allowed me to buy real objects that are commonly used in rituals that produce convincing props for my film and establish the genre immediately for the audience. During the pre-production planning stage, I used online software such as ScriptBuddy to form the written preparation for producing my film. In writing the script, I was able to match character profiles and create tension whilst establishing the scenes to bring the audience to relate to the characters. The script also established the essence and origins of witchcraft, whilst clearly showing the audience the development of the coven from an innocent group. ScriptBuddy enabled me to prepare the actors for filming, as they knew in advance the exact storyline I wanted to portray and how I wanted the characters to appear. It also meant that when I came to producing my short, I knew exactly what I needed to film, making it a time-efficient process whereby the actors knew exactly what they were doing in each scene. I also used the flip camera to take still images of each frame within my storyboard to form the animatic. I then recorded the dialogue through the inbuilt speakers on the MacBook Pro to represent the action and character relationships that are portrayed within each scene. I uploaded this to YouTube and embedded the video into my blog so that I could refer back to it on how I could take my product to the next level. I was also able to do this with my written work, such as audience research questionnaires, the shot list, script, production schedule, and risk assessment, which I uploaded via Scribd so that I could embed them within my blog, showing every planning stage building up in reaching for the best media product. The ability to embed the documents to enhance the appearance of my blog meant that products could be used for simple and future reference. During the production of my short film, I used a variety of hardware and software technologies to produce a high-quality, appealing text. With the newly installed updated software, Final Cut allowed me to work in an increasingly advanced way, reflecting a professional setup, much in contrast with the AS coursework, which was less complex regarding narrative and timescale. This is where my test filming and editing came in extremely useful, as we had new software and I had already familiarised myself with the basics of how to use it, providing a large step up from the AS opening sequence. I used the Canon Legria HFR46 to film my short, which was easy to work with and high quality, providing a good technical setup. It captured the dialogue of my characters clearly, which was important seeing as most of the set was external, as well as allowing me to adjust the framing and movements of the camera to suit the action in the scene. I then used Final Cut to insert different filters, titles and transitions. I focused on a different genre here to the one centred in my AS project, therefore I learned to use these techniques in other ways to become stylistic of the genre. There was also a dramatic development in continuous editing and sound, which was aided by the fast-paced editing in the end scene. I accomplished this through the different tools in Final Cut that allow you to adjust the duration and pace of shots. I also used the Panasonic Lumix DMC FS20 digital camera in the production process so that I could document the filming sessions and how much progress I had made. I also used this camera for shooting the film post images. I was then able to use a range of tools and techniques from Photoshop CS5 to accent the quality of my film poster, such as strength of opacity, merging, and the auto select tool. In learning how to use Photoshop, I have developed necessary skills in positioning, size, colour, background, effects, tagline, and the billing block. I was also able to use Default.com in the post-production process, which provided a vast variety of fonts that I could include to suit and establish the genre of my product. I downloaded and imported it into the software. This clearly linked to the genre of my product. I also used EmpireOnline.com to discover film reviews that encompassed the thriller theme, as this was an area that I wanted to focus on through the concept of death. This influenced the structure of my review and the language I included throughout by analysing articles written on films such as The Babadook, which encompassed the idea of death and the thriller theme. I would not have been able to produce these professional products without Photoshop, as it was a simple way of setting up columns, importing images, adjusting shapes and colours, and then exporting the final review. Since I was producing my own sound involving dialogue, sound effects and score separately from the main product, I used the H1 Zoom Handy Recorder, which recorded the music compositions in much greater quality than I had for the Animatic. It was also portable, which meant I could record wherever my musicians were located. They were also sensitive microphones, so picked up my score with much clarity. Finally, for the last aspect of my product, the evaluations, I was able to use iMovie to produce and edit my videos to explain the reasoning behind each stage of creating my product. I used the inbuilt microphone to directly import my voice to the project. I then used images, clips, and sound found online and in my previous work to complement parts of the questions I was answering in order to give an in-depth, meaningful response.